This is David with High Performance Stoicism. I want to talk to you about how Stoic progress is action. When you start to take up Stoicism, when you start to practice Stoicism, you are looking to make some progress. From what you've heard about Stoicism, here are some of the things you're expecting along the way. You want to be less upset at things that normally make you upset. You want to respond to surprises in a much more calm and rational way. And you want your outlook on life to be better overall. And Stoic can definitely deliver these things for you. But there's one mistaken way of viewing Stoicism that it's important that you avoid. What's the mistake? The mistake is to think that you can really make progress in Stoicism without changing the actions that you're taking. To get us off on the right foot for this discussion, here's a quote from Marcus Aurelius. He said, "Good and bad for a rational and social being lie not in passivity, but in action, just as virtue and vice for him lie not in passivity, but in action." End quote. Now, it's going to take a lot of action to become a virtuous person, but the goal, what virtue is, what the good is for the Stoics, it is all about action. Despite some misimpressions people have of Stoicism, that it's a philosophy of passivity, it's really a philosophy of activity. Now, think about what's involved for someone practicing Stoicism, especially at the beginning. It's going to involve reading works like Marcus Aurelius and Epictetus. It's going to involve reflecting on what you're learning. It's going to involve coming to understanding. And over time, you're going to correct some of your understandings and add to them and make different connections between the different things that you're understanding. And there's a great deal of excitement in that. And then you're going to be applying all that you've been learning to your life, to the way you think about things, to the way you act. Now, one thing that is definitely distinctive of Stoicism as a philosophy is the way you are going to become virtuous. For Stoicism, the way you become virtuous is what I call perspective shaping. That's what the reading is for, and that's what the application of the reading is for. So I'll just give you an example. One of the things that has to change in your perspective is you start to think more clearly and carefully about some things are up to us and some things are not up to us. In other words, you think, in this situation where I'm having a difficulty with another person, I want to clearly see what is up to me and what is not up to me. And to become better in Stoicism, you do want to apply that kind of perspective to all the different things that you're experiencing in your life. And there's a number of other perspective changes you're going to make, and I'll just give you one more example. The Stoics think it's important for you to recognize you as a human being are a part of a much greater whole. That whole is the entire universe, and the Stoic view is this universe is run in a rational and orderly way, and you're just a part of it. And that is going to be a big perspective change for many people because many people think they are at the center of all events. So that's what's distinctive about Stoicism. And for a little contrast, what does Aristotle say about becoming virtuous? For Aristotle, it's very simple. And the theory is complex, but what you are to do is very simple, and that is to become courageous, get into intimidating and dangerous situations, and act courageously. Use your reason, use your mind to act as courageously as you can around tempting situations whenever they occur. Start to use some self control. Only have one slice of pie for dessert and keep doing that for every tempting situation. And you're going to develop some self control. And then one day you'll have the virtue of temperance. So That's Aristotle, and the Stoics are giving you something much more, and they're adding a lot to it by putting so much stress on changing the way you see things at every stage of the game. Now, here's where a big mistake can come in for people that are practicing Stoicism. You will think, okay, I'm reading, I'm reflecting on what I'm reading, I'm understanding more and more about Stoicism, and I am applying it in situation after situation, and that is going to be enough. I am telling you, based on what Marcus and a number of other Stoics have said at particular points, it is all about action. In other words, Aristotle had a great point. His view is just incomplete. You do want to put yourself in more intimidating situations. You do want to take more risks. You want to engage in more of what I call tension situations in order to reshape your soul, in order to move toward virtue. The same goes for issues that are tempting that require you to act with self control or temperance. Now, we have enough of these going on in our lives because a lot of the food we like, we probably shouldn't be eating. And we, even if we're eating pretty healthy, for many of us, we should be eating a little less. And so it's true. I do want you to apply the perspectives that Stoicism gives us, such as I am just a part of a much greater whole, the universe, and some things are up to me and some things are not up to me. I do want you to continue to apply those, but I also want you to expand your range of action. Because if you don't do this, what's going to happen is you're going to end up in a place I call Stoic fantasy land. In other words, you will experience certain differences, but you're not taking more courageous action. You're going to experience some differences in terms of what kinds of goodies and sweet foods you refuse to eat, but you're not really able to take on more challenging, tempting situations unless you put yourself in more challenging situations. So that's the thing to keep in mind. And many the people that I'm saying are in Stoic fantasy land, many times you can see them operating online and they're talking as if they're being more courageous just because their attitude has changed, but they're not taking more courageous action. And yes, at some point in your journey, responding to comments and then getting into discussions with people and even arguments with people, at some point in your journey, that is going to be more courageous. But I'm talking about real courageous action where you do things that you're afraid to do, such as sending out a bunch of job applications, such as contacting people that you think are out of your league in your field and saying you would love to meet with them. And those are just a couple of examples, but I hope they give you an idea of yes, we do want to reflect, we want to read, we want to better understand things, we want to change our perspective through all of this work. But part of applying Stoicism is you're expanding your range of actions that you're taking to make your life better. And as many of you know, what really makes the person that you want to be becoming a courageous and prudent person is the tough situations. Now, you can't get those if all of your Stoic activity is online. So that's it for today. Like, subscribe, and give me some comments. Tell me what you think about this idea that you must expand your range of action if you really want to lead a great life and become virtuous. And we'll see you in the next video.